Hey, I'm Sug.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Demystified Zone.
The one podcast that could get you into a North Korean labor camp.
Daniel.
Hey.
Welcome back to another episode. Welcome, listeners.
Welcome.
Joining with us again today is our newest addition to the team, Mr. Jay Ha. Welcome, Jay.
What's up, guys?
Jay is our, as he put it so well, our Jamie. If you know what that means, then good for you. I'm not going to go beyond that.
That's his Songbun. The Jamie class.
That's a great lead-in.
Yes.
We're just going to jump in because there's so much content today. No warming up today.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a couple of episodes really to
this is going to come up a lot.
Yeah.
We're just going to touch it here. Of course, listeners, send us emails. We know you love doing that so much.
Yes.
By the overflowing of our email inbox. Just kidding. Please email us. dmz@crossingbordersnk.org. We're talking today about Songbun. Songbun, what does it mean, Dan? What's the literal translation? Do you know it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in that article.
Yes.
It's a part or
Think more cooking.
it's ingredient.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
So Songbun literally means
Ingredient.
Okay.
Yes.
Explain to our listeners, just generally, high level, what is Songbun and why we want to talk about it today.
I think it's Songbun.
Okay, whatever. My Korean is 5% here, so.
Okay, so Songbun is an actual government-used class system, basically, where there's three major classifications, which is core, wavering, and hostile, which is pretty much like green light, yellow light, red light. Hostile is obviously the worst of the worst. And it's not based on one's merit. And it can be, but it's mostly based, you get it when you're born, and it's based on your ancestors. If someone was loyal to Kim Il-sung, then you get a better Songbun and more opportunities. And you literally, they have structured society where the core class either lives in Pyongyang or closest to Pyongyang, and the hostile class lives furthest away in the outer region.
The closer you are to the epicenter, the heart, as you will, the more regarded you are.
Exactly. And during the famine, that had huge consequences because the food was distributed through Pyongyang.
Yeah.
And the further away you got from Pyongyang, the harder it was for you to get the distribution based on geography, but also based on because the government would treat you differently because of your Songbun or Songbun.
Yeah. To give our listeners a better picture of what this is, okay, I'm just going to read straight from, by the way, you can follow this along as always in our notes. We'll put the links up. This is an article from our Crossing Borders blog. Shout out to our blogger. They do amazing work, y'all. You need to check out the blog. This is where we get a lot of our headlines that you usually can't find actually in Western media. But there's a blog article called Songbun, a North Korean ultimate value. And in it, they just write a very tight paragraph. I'm just going to read. It says, in the eyes of the state, the ingredients, or Songbun, that make up the North Korean are the actions of their family, reaching back several generations, as we know from our Raw Laws episode. For example, if one's grandfather supported Kim Il-sung in the rise of power, he or she had a good Songbun and a chance at high-ranking jobs in the government. However, the opposite is true as well. If you were anyway associated with any relatives in South Korea, you're definitely in the hostile group. And you might be destined for a life of hard labor. So a lot of
you have bad ingredients.
Your ingredients are spoiled, some might say. Which is really interesting. What about kimchi, though? What if we're making kimchi here?
Last week, this is a quick aside, I was making pasta and finished with a handful of Parmesan cheese.
Uh-huh.
The Parmesan went bad. I didn't know it. and I threw a bunch in, ruined the whole pot. We had to go out to eat.
Was it like blue cheese? Did it look like blue cheese?
It smelled like blue cheese, but it was parm, and it ruined the whole thing.
Was this just like a blind eye? You didn't smell. You just grabbed.
Yeah, I just grabbed it and I threw it in there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Was Betty annoyed at you?
No.
Was she like, what's
she
wrong
bought
with you?
it? Yeah.
Betty, that wasn't you taking. Dan was not blaming you for it. Okay, don't misinterpret that, please. He needs to go home and sleep tonight.
Amen.
So yes, your ingredients. What makes you as a citizen? So actually, a lot of experts. If you dig into this, you can find this anywhere on the web, and a lot of people have written about Songbun, and a lot of them say like there are obvious parallels to Marxism. And obviously communism is very prevalent in North Korea, at least a form of it is. And that this is one of the tenets of communism, right?
Yeah.
Of like having your place in society, knowing, except in communism, it's a little more fair. It's not just so much about like your 3 generations ago history. It's a little bit more based on merit. Some might say a meritocracy. This is a very distorted version of that, or a class system, right?
Yeah, and Korean culture in general, both North and South. Like if you go, I was born in South Korea, and in order to like get a passport or anything like that, or do any sort of business in South Korea, you have to dig up your family records. In South Korea, I mean, like people are getting into it with like 23andMe and things like that. But South Koreans, they know exactly who their ancestors were because the records are that detailed and that centralized. And vital. It won't affect your class in South Korea.
Yeah.
But it is tied to a great number of things in Korean society that you have to prove and show.
That's a great point you bring up because I want to add to that based on what my digging from this week. So North Korea takes that to the next level. As we all know, North Korea just ups the ante for all things.
They like to do that.
So they spend, it's obviously they don't know exactly how much, but there are tons of resources spent into this system of tracking and classifying people in their country.
Yes.
And you can understand why, right? Well, the obvious reasons are like they just are always looking over their shoulder. So they're always constantly looking for spies within their own rank. Mm-hmm. The notes. We've talked about the note taking before.
Right.
All right. On top of the note-taking system, there is now data that is managed using a software system. They're getting to the 21st century here. It's called Faithful Servant 2.0.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's called Faithful Servant 2.0. And they've digitized decades worth of records on families and people's history, which is for the authorities to access from the Ministry of Public Security. So any authority can go to a computer terminal in any provincial county level and look up somebody
by their Songbun.
Which
oh my God.
That in itself just kind of has its own funniness to me about they got to go to a terminal like in this is like Blade Runner over here. They're like running into
Soon
terminals.
They'll have an app on there.
They're like, you wait right there. I got to go to this terminal right here. I'm going to look you up. What is your class? You're lying to me, I think. But no, so they've the Faithful Servant 2.0 database system, which is probably like the version of like SQL.
I want to see the logo for that for some reason. I got to see the logo.
And then to add more, if we're going to add more controversy to the fire, recently, we're going to touch base on this more in detail later, but recently they changed the law so that I think it was like after, I'm going to mess up the year here, but like 5 or 10 years, they were destroying records of people's families or something like that. And it was in certain cases too. I forgot what I'm messing things up here. We'll have to look it up later. But now it's forever. Like they don't destroy anything. So they want to keep.
It's like the internet.
Yeah. Well, even though there's my Zynga is gone. I guess you could find it if you really dug really.
The Wayback Machine. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some Zynga posts I've been looking for decades. I still can't find them. But here now in North Korea in the Faithful Servant 2.0 servers.
Yeah.
Your whatever that thing you did, that thing Dan Chung's great grandfather did are on there now.
His Zanga posts are on there.
Yeah, his Zanga is well detailed and documented. What was Grandpa Chung blogging about back then?
Japanese people.
Oh, I'm sorry, Japanese listeners. We don't associate with that thought here.
No, we don't.
So yeah, like this is a thing. This is how they live. I mean,
it's unbelievable. It's crazy to think about this.
It is. It's some 1984 stuff right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it really is reminiscent of that and like episodes of Black Mirror where there's like some, and China is doing it now too, where social rating, right? If the AI cameras detect you like throwing garbage on the street, you'll get docked for that.
Can you imagine what that'd be like here for every stupid thing you post? You're gonna get downgraded. You know,
they're doing that already, but it's not centralized. It's like with the U.S., it's like more like
you get the social backlash.
Yeah, social backlash.
You get canceled, or it is different
than the centralized government.
Than you getting shot with anti-aircraft missiles or put into a camp, a hard labor camp.
Yeah, because that version, the version of Twitter shaming in North Korea is because for us it's like, you said this in 1990 or you tweeted this in like 2007. Here's a record. This is your grandfather gave a high five to the Japanese official who were oppressing us, blah blah blah, right? That's the version of,
and we don't have picture evidence. We just heard from someone who also handshaked that guy, and he told on you. That is our evidence.
Yeah, and that will follow not only you, but all your descendants.
So if I can go through, this is okay. Let's dig into this system a little bit. All right. So as Dan mentioned, there's three main buckets here, but then within that there are a total of 51 like subcategories.
Yeah.
Actually, Jay, if you can go to the that one. So the core makes up which is called the 핵심. Am I saying that right, Jay? 핵심?
That is correct.
Awesome. Jay is our resident Korean guy. He's got 50% Korean power. Dan's like at 20. I'm like at 5, somewhere around there. So he's got the most Korean power of all of us.
Yes.
The core, 핵심, around 20% of the population, which includes professional revolutionaries. Professional revolutionaries, that's a great title. Descendants of war heroes who died working or fighting for the North, peasants, or those from peasant families. So to be clear, here's the fairness of the system. You could be a peasant and still be considered part of the core if your family goes back,
okay,
to the, they were loyal to the great grandfather or grandfather.
Interesting.
Then there's the wavering class. This makes up the largest population. It's called the 동료. 45% includes people who had previously lived in South Korea or China, those with relatives who went to the South, families of small-scale merchants, intellectuals, practitioners of superstition, etc. That's very interesting. So this is the gray group. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are in this group, but honestly, there's nothing. Once you get past core, it's not good for you. If you're in wavering, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
It's better than the next group, hostile, which is 적대. Am I saying that right? Sure. 27% includes descendants of landlords, capitalists, religious people, political prisoners, those who had assisted South Korean forces during the war or were otherwise judged anti-party or associated with external powers. Basically, if you're ever labeled hostile, it's game over for you. Like you are never... Like if you're a wavering, there's a small chance you could potentially get promoted. Well, like I said, there's 51 subcategories, so you could get promoted within wavering, but you're probably not going to make it into the core.
Yeah.
But if you're hostile, like you will never even get into wavering. Like you're just done.
That's like, it's like a credit score, basically, right? But times a million.
Based on your ancestors' credit.
Based on, everything.
Yeah, like once you default on that mortgage, your social mortgage, and
the social,
you're not making it back ever.
And landowners.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, but I bet Kim Jong-un owns the most land right now in North Korea.
Oh, well, he's on top of the pyramid here.
Right. So it's landowner at the time of revolution or Japanese occupation or right before Kim Il-sung came to power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Here's the speculation coming in now.
Okay.
So Kim Il-sung, he's the one that really created the system,
Yeah.
the class system.
Mm-hmm.
And right off the bat, North Korea was an oppressed state. Like, they took this to heart. Kim Il-sung, for sure, took this as a power grab.
Yeah.
Move to control.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no doubt about that. I mean, you could look at all the smiling pictures of him you want, but this dude
wanted power.
Yeah, and he used this system to lock it in tight.
Yeah.
As we've discussed many times. And not only that, then he taught his son how to do it too, which Kim Jong-il took it to another level.
Yeah. During
the famine, basically became a weapon, weaponized hunger, basically, to control classes. So that's what a lot of experts are saying, that this Songbun was the vehicle that allowed them to starve their people and them not to revolt or cause revolution from it, because they got everyone to buy into this thing. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it's in because so the refugees that come across that I've met, they're usually from the northern region, right? Because those are the people who had least access to food. They were likely, I never asked them for this Songbun, but they were likely, because they lived in those outer regions, hostile, right? Their families were hostile, and they had least access to food. They were the most starved out of all North Koreans, and they were closest to China just by nature of geography, right? Because the core is usually closer to Pyongyang.
Yeah.
So they had to cross over, and so North Korea is like, who cares about these people? And so they're like, well, who cares about you then? Because I'm leaving, I'm starving, I have to leave, right? And now, because they left, that goes on their family's record, and that affects everything else again, still.
It's always and there's plenty of ways down. There are no ways up, but there's plenty of ways to go down the mountain here.
Yeah.
Because
it's a punitive system.
Yeah. And which is so crazy to me. For example, Kim Jong-un literally had his uncle, had his brother assassinated. They were at the top. They were at the top of the top, but they went down fast. They took the express train down, right?
Yeah, interesting.
It doesn't matter. Even if you are the top class of this core class, if anything, you might have even a different kind of stress, right?
Yeah.
Because you're always at risk. Because one, you're not going to go up any higher. Two, you can only go anywhere but down, right? Yeah. Anyone can only go down.
It's crazy.
And this is the thing that I always get caught up in is, how does that not instill revolution? That's what's impressive. I don't want to say impressive, I'm encouraging this, but how does there no revolution? 90%, if maybe even more, everyone is living in fear or this terrible system. They have an iron grip, on that's what I'm saying. This system is it's unstoppable.
Yeah. I wonder if, because the influx of media now, that people are questioning the Songbun system. I wonder that, yeah. Because that is the foundation of society.
Yeah.
And what I've learned, just in general, as an adult working in this space, is that, you give someone a social structure, and no matter if it's oppressive or not, the instinct is for you to protect it, because it's what makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there are some people who are like, no, this is wrong, and I want to go against the grain. But again, in North Korea, how would you ever do that?
And I think the unique recipe or the secret ingredient here, if we're going to talk about ingredients, is the installation or like teaching at a young age, getting them really young and just teaching them about self-sacrifice to the greater whole, like the whole Confucian, the whole is greater than, the parts, and like ingraining that in them so that I think that is probably the secret ingredient to maintaining this, like it's an honor to die or to suffer as long as the country, the motherland does well.
Yeah. I guess.
Was that the Juche? Is that?
Juche is the central.
What was the other word that was, we just talked about this. My brain is.
Self-reliance? Military?
Self-reliance, and then the dying for your country. Wasn't there a word for that one?
I don't know.
Okay. Never mind.
Patriotism.
Yeah, patriotism.
G.I. Joe, Korean style. Yeah, it's I don't know if, especially with Koreans, right? We grew up in a very Korean American system, but even with that, there is structure there, right? There is like this and
duty, like a sense of duty.
And being in that, it was comforting because it was one way to look at the world, right? You respect your elders and treat people who are younger than you like crap. Right?
You were in the core class. I was in the hostel class. I was at the bottom all the time.
Yeah, and it just makes sense to you. I guess that's what I'm saying. And I'm saying this because working in Korea now, you see this a lot. I see this all the time where like someone will get mad that an elder or a superior like just ream them out, right? But then they'll do the same thing to the person under them. It's like putting people in their place is so Korean. Yeah. Another example is my parents were talking about this where, okay, my brother is dating someone. He's got a girlfriend, and we were joking around that my wife has to be mean to this new girl to put her into her place. What? And my parents were like, yeah, that's how it works. That's what you're supposed to do. Like these older girls are supposed to be mean or hard on their, I don't know why but even when that's happening to you, it just makes sense, and it's comforting that you're part of this system. And as oppressive as that system is, it just makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I do. And so, okay, so for our listeners out there who don't know what we're talking about to this Korean culture, I've heard of this, even though I'm 5% Korean. Yeah. And I actually heard, though, is that the same, and my question to you is that the same in modern Korea now? Because I heard that, like, and this makes sense to me sociologically. Our parents immigrated here in the 1960s, 1970s. Yeah. After the 1965 Immigration Act. And they took with them a very specific Korea, South Korea. Yes. Right? And it's interesting, if you come here into the Midwest, Koreans here in the Midwest are very different than LA Koreans or East Coast Koreans.
Because they're from the 70s and
they
early
are.
80s,
and they embody a culture of Korea that doesn't exist anymore, even in Korea.
Sure, of course.
So I wonder, like, even something like that with your sister-in-law or potential sister, same your sister-in-law, you got to work your way up there, girl. Is if that's real in Korea today.
It's slowly changing.
Or is it,
But there is some structure involved, right? The structure might be changing, but there is this class hierarchy still in modern Korean culture. Yeah. It's still there. It might be like now the younger one is yelling at the older one for some reason, but even in that, there's still this rigid structure involved.
And you're right. So that's still, I guess it's changing slowly. But if I can give people context here, North Korea is like the pre-version of our parents, that culture, where it was very extreme. Yes. And that's still today, right now. If anything, it's more powerful than ever. Yeah. That structure and hierarchy, that's what the Songbun is, really. It's it's that on steroids. It's what we just talked about on like another level.
Yeah.
And another
because
level in every
prison
respect.
camps involved.
Exactly. On another level in every respect of, I mean, if you look at these articles, we'll put them up there. It affects everything. Your family status, what job you can do, where you can live.
Yeah.
If you can live. Right? Like
it's crazy.
Your education, you know, and obviously the higher you go, the better all those things are. But you know, 90%, 80% of the people here are in that wavering to hostile categories. And I think it ever expands.
Yeah.
Here's a really disturbing quote. I actually got this from, and I mentioned this in another episode of the Guy Delisle, who's talking about, who did the Pyongyang graphic novel.
Yeah.
And so he posted this little factoid about how Kim Jong-il was recorded saying in like 96 that only 30% of North Korea's population needs to survive. This is during the famine.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Like, can you imagine Biden saying that right now? like, yeah, we go through this war with AI machines. Only 30% of us really need to survive. Like, he's openly saying that to his countrymen. I mean, again, I don't know how much they actually hear. Maybe they didn't hear that. But like, that is their mentality up on top, is like, you guys are expendable. We only need 30% of us here. Yeah. And we're all there in the core class. So hostiles and wavering, good luck. So I mentioned earlier, there's 3 main groups, but there are actually 51 smaller, like broken up subcategories. Yeah, if you can pull that up. 51 of these subcategories to this group. And if you guys, again, we'll put the link on here, but there's a gentleman named Robert Collins. He is an expert on North Korea. He worked with the U.S. military for intelligence community for a long time studying North Korea. He wrote a bunch of like essays and things about North Korea, but he's got a great PDF that you can find online. Again, we'll put the link below. Yeah. And he writes about Songbun. Am I saying that? I keep saying it wrong. Bun, right? It's a bun.
I think it's bun, yeah.
It's Songbun. I'm just going to say it the Americanized way. Terrible. So he writes this very long essay on this topic, breaking down if you're interested in this more, go ahead and read this thing. It's great. But in the appendixes, he's got the 51 categories and how North Korea breaks this up. And it's to not overshoot it. It's ridiculous. Yeah. There's by column, the category, what the description means, and then the party's policy towards that. So let's just take an example. Number 1 is a laborer. Peasants, hired agricultural workers and laborers whose positions were unchanged before and after libertarian and whose social songbun was labor. So these are people who are in, and the party policy for them is core class. So this is like a peasant who's in the core class because they've maintained loyalty. Their ancestors maintained loyalty and they haven't wavered since. Now, could we jump down to the next page, Jay? Let's go to one. Let's keep going down. Let's get out of this core class. So they just keep going through. Again, there's 51 of these. Some of these are really interesting. Okay, let's start right there. So we're going to go pro-Japan, number 16, a pro-Japan and pro-U.S. individual. Those who carried out pro-Japan or pro-U.S. activities. The party policy, subject to strict surveillance. Okay.
And they will surveil you.
And yes.
Believe you me.
The notes are coming out for that person. The notepads are going to be coming out. All right, let's go back. Keep going down. There's some really interesting ones here. Keep going.
Spy.
Oh, yeah, stop right there. Go up a little bit. Number 26. Families of those executed. The family of those who were executed.
Yeah.
Families of those who were executed for anti-party activity after so they might have a pre-Korean War, post-Korean War thing here. And the policy is treated in some manner as those removed from the party. In some manner. In the same manner. I'm sorry. In the same manner as those removed from the party. So you guys can basically, if you look at this is like a cheat sheet for any authority or any person to quickly put someone in a box and be like, yes, they are number 26. They have a family member who was executed post-Korean War. How should I treat them? Okay.
Yeah. Wait, and then they're like, wait, how should I treat them? Oh, surveil them. Okay, so they have like
extreme surveillance.
Rolodex. Oh, extremes. Okay, got it. That's all I should
Can you
keep this
imagine like people spying on each other? Like, remember that one time when you were like talking about Japan? Could you just like say again? Like, I just remember you saying, and he's like got his book out. It's like, is this pro Japan? Oh my god.
Yeah, but if you screw up and you say something wrong, or that can be something that can be construed wrong to the wrong person, man. And you're being surveilled to begin with. Everything is being written down. You just tell the right person, it goes on your record again. You get knocked down even further. Crazy.
All right, just for fun, I'm going to pretend like we are not capitalist Americans, Dan. Just by our own personality and who we are, let's find out what category we fall into here. Okay? Find out a sub number. Number 28 is looking hot for me right now. Number 28 is that 10% garbage class. 28 is those who are lazy.
Yeah.
Read that one out.
Those who are lazy all of their life and causing trouble. Well, see, that's the thing.
That's
if
me.
If you're causing trouble, that's showing some initiative. Are you that lazy?
But maybe it's their laziness that's causing the trouble.
Yeah, like it's a negligence thing.
What's the party
trouble.
policy towards laziness?
General surveillance based on defining them as capable of being anti-revolutionaries during crisis. Wow.
They're basically like, if they're lazy enough not to do anything anti-revolutionary, I'm just going to give them a pass. Just let them be lazy and look down on them. It's just general surveillance because maybe they're too lazy to do anything effective against us.
Yes. 30 is those guilty of economic crimes.
White collar crime? White collar criminals, maybe?
I've met someone actually who...
Okay.
She stole copper.
Okay.
Copper wiring from abandoned buildings. And this is another crazy thing. She stole copper wiring that was connected directly to Pyongyang, which is like more protected, I guess.
Okay.
So...
But did she get caught?
She got caught and she got a huge... And her Songbun just... I bet she was...
I mean, she got
30.
the general surveillance, though.
Yeah.
It sounds like general surveillance is pretty severe then. Even general. Like, that means extreme surveillance is like probably camp. That's extreme, I guess. I can watch you all the time dig this hole.
Okay, general surveillance based on defining them as capable of being anti-revolutionaries during crisis. But the thing is, North Korea is always in crisis.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for interpretation.
It's crazy.
I think
right?
that's intentional, right?
Yeah.
Like you can interpret these things in multiple ways. All right, keep going down. We're gonna get into the religions here. So, all right, 37 through 39.
Yeah.
You know, just based on that, we're gonna get some special surveillance. So that's Protestants, Buddhists, and Catholics.
Yeah.
And if you're a believer at the end of the Korean War, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
If you're a believer before or during the Korean War, you're good. Things were happening then. So they're going to look the other way. But once we're out of the war, no way.
No way.
Small businessman. Okay, this is me. I'm a small businessman. 42. Does not have own facilities, but moves. That's me. We work remotely. No facilities.
Remote workers are...
Ideologically indoctrinated. What does that mean? That's the party policy. Ideologically indoctrinated. Does that mean I'm going to be sent to a camp?
They're not even surveilling you, man. They have their book on you.
That's camp talk. Like, you're getting sent to a camp to be re-indoctrinated.
Artisan.
Those who made their own products. Uh-oh.
You can't make your own pots?
Yo, that's Etsy. That's Etsy.
Yeah,
Everyone
Etsy.
who posts on Etsy is going to the ideological indoctrination camp.
My sister-in-law works for Etsy. Oh boy.
But is she making her own products? That's the key.
She's coding for
Etsy.
Etsy.
Nope. She's good.
She's good.
She's falling into small businesswoman, maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
She does occasionally work remotely though. So
Yeah. Okay, look at number 50 and 51. These are probably the two most vastly different ones. Go ahead and read those.
Party member?
Number 50 is party member.
Yeah.
Which the party policy is core class treated as cadre.
So
that's the best number right there, 50.
Oh, it's not like ascending.
It's not ranked. No, it's not ranked. Because remember, number 1 was like peasant, but it felt like it. Maybe it is. I don't know. But then maybe it is because this is the worst one you could be too, 51 on the other side.
Yeah.
Capitalist.
Interesting.
Those who lost all their commercial assets to nationalization after 1946.
strict surveillance.
That's the camp right there. That's the only strict. There's the only way you can watch them all the time. You camp them
capitalists.
up. We're all falling to that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Jay, which one you relating to most here on this list? Which one you calling yourself out on?
I feel like being past military.
Oh,
I would be the military one.
Okay, that was a good one. That's core class.
But at the same time, I feel like I shouldn't say that.
Why not? You know, we're honored soldiers. There you are. Those who served in the Korean War. You were like born too far out of that one, though.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's. Maybe I'll be in the Etsy group if I can't find out. Maybe I'll just start making things.
Families of patriots.
No, yeah, but Jay, you know, as former U.S. military.
Oh no, yeah,
that would be
you're
different.
You're the capitalist.
Yeah.
You're there's a class for you. Hold on. Go up. Go down more. No, sorry. Down. Yeah, pro Japan and pro U.S. individual. Subject to strict surveillance. Number
reactionary,
16.
even the one right below the number 70, reactionary elements.
Oh.
Those who served the Japanese during the Japanese colonial period.
Yeah.
You served the Japanese, didn't you? Weren't you over there in Japan too?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Look at
my
number
presence.
18 is hilarious. Those from the South. That's so general. South of what? Right? You could say like south of the North Pole. What are we talking about here? Families of rich farmers, landlords, national capitalists, pro-Japanese, pro-US, or reactionaries who came north during. Basically, they're talking about South Korea. There's no thing for the. Oh wait, scroll down. Maybe it's in the next one. The party policy. Okay, there it is.
No.
General.
That's 19.
No. Whoa, what? There was no. I guess it's so extreme. They're like, it's obvious.
So you couldn't like during the Korean War, like run up from the South and say, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And then boom, for the rest of your life, you're
hostile. You're in hostile.
Yeah.
They're not gonna trust you.
Hey, how can I help you guys?
It's not very. It's in a very
Send them
exclusive
away.
club.
Yeah.
To say the least. Well, you know, there's some good news. I don't know if this is good news actually. In 2020, it was reported that our man Marshall, KJU, reduced this down to 12 groups, not the 51 that it is. Actually, it was originally 10, and then he added 2 that were ideological status and inclination. I'm sorry, ideologically wavering and complainers and discontents.
Complainers. Oh, that's me.
That's part
me
of the complainers and we're all in that one for sure. Every American is in that one. No complaining.
Did you take a look at that traffic? Oh, you're in the complainer class.
Actually, you wouldn't complain about that because
there's
no traffic
in North Korea.
It's more like you're like, hey, can I turn the lights on? It's a little dark in here. Get out of here. Strict surveillance.
Complainer.
In your household, if we're gonna do core, like who's in the core class, who's in your wavering, and who's in your hostile class?
Okay,
right now?
so for me in my house, I have this game with my kids, and they just come. This is so interesting. I just thought of this. This is so interesting, right? Because I have this game that I play with my kids, and they totally go along with it, right? So it's like. There's no name for it, but it's like I'll name people who are part of my team, right? That's the core class, right? So I'll say, Andy, man, you are my team, this and that. And he's like, yes. And he immediately starts being mean to like his brother and sister, right? I don't know. It's just
the game is called Songbun. That's what you're playing at home, basically, with your children.
And they never question that I'm the sole arbiter of who is in and
Do they
out.
call you dear leader when they're playing? Like, dear leader, pick me to be on your team.
They're always trying to be on my team. And whoever's on my team, for various reasons, like this latest iteration of it is they're on my team because one Saturday I wanted to take a nap and 2 of them wanted to snuggle with me. And I'm like, you know what, guys? You guys are part of my team. They're like, yeah.
Who was the defector? Who was the discontent in that one? Was it Stella?
It was the boys who were snuggling with me in bed, and it was the 2 girls. Betty is never on my team, by the way. She's like, I don't want any part of this. This is crazy. But my kids are always, and Stella, she does it ironically now, but everyone's jockeying to be on my team.
You better watch out. It's It's a recipe for revolution in your household.
That's true. That's
You're
when the guillotine will come and chop off.
Or you got to just tighten your grip even harder. You got to make the propaganda strong in that household to maintain power, else you will be taken down.
I went as far as to produce a song about who is on my team.
Of course you did. Let's hear
That's
it. Don't make us ask for it. Here it comes.
Okay. So the song is about if you got COVID when I had COVID, then you're on my team.
Okay, let's hear it.
So the hook is it's a hip hop, is a rap song. So
okay.
So it's COVID in the house. COVID in the house. COVID in the house. COVID in the house. Anyway,
that's
I go
it?
through this.
Is that the only lyric?
No, I go through. It's a long song.
Are they allowed to? Are they like encouraged to sing along with you? And if they don't, they get like put into the camp, like the basement or something like that. Like if you're not singing along, what's the punishment?
They have to not only sing along, but it's how much feeling they have as they're singing. I'm watching.
Strict surveillance. Watch out, Chung kids.
Yeah.
You heard it here. Get out while you can. Hey listeners, if you want to learn more about what's going on in North Korea or want to help out by donating or volunteering, check out our website at crossingbordersnk.org.